I'm back. I'm so sorry that I left you guys hanging, but I'm back. And today we are doing your May predictions. So I've pulled some cards here. I'm going to channel a little bit as well, and we're going to see what's coming for this collective in the month of May. First card that came out was the Queen of Cups reversed, and the Queen of Cups reversed, I feel in this instance, is representing maybe a softer, more vulnerable part of you that you have been holding back, not fully expressing. And this is a part of you, they're also showing me the fish, so it feels like this is a part of you that learned to feel safe through providing for yourself, or through feeling like you're providing for yourself, essentially. It just feels like with this 10th house authority card, there is this idea of what authority looks like, of what professionalism looks like, of what providing for yourself, even in this world, is supposed to look like. And with the Blue Temple card, this is all about imagination and entering the liminal space, entering the imaginal realms, and letting yourself dream, letting yourself float, not having to drive so hard, not having to force so hard, but letting ideas come to you. And it feels like that's what this Queen of Cups reversed is representing. It's representing this part of you that wants to dream again. It's part of you that wants to express themselves in a different way. I feel like the Queen of Cups, it represents a repressed aspect of your psyche that is more connected to your emotions and to your intuition. And it's connected to your heart as well. And it's a part of you that is wanting to be expressed in the world, that is wanting to be respected also in the world. I feel like this part of you probably didn't get the love and respect and nurturing that it needed when you were younger. And so you've learned that these other ways of being will garner you more attention, more respect, more authority. And so you've really neglected this part of you, but it's coming back online now. And so now is a really good time for you to be connecting with your emotional self, with your softer side, and to work on self-love and self-compassion, because there is this aspect of you that is wanting to be more seen. I also feel like this is a part of you, you've learned to hide this part of you, and it may also have to do with authority figures in your life. So teachers, parents, older siblings, or anyone who you felt had authority over you that sent you this message that this is an aspect of yourself that you should not show to the world, that you should not be proud of. That's the messaging you're unlearning at this time. And with the Blue Temple, it really does feel like, again, the way out is through processing your emotions, but also through imagination, through dreaming. Again, I feel like there's a lot of creative energy that is available in this part of you that you've been hiding, and that tapping into your creativity is one way where you will be able to dream again. And it almost feels like you've been on autopilot for so long that you may know that you need to change. You know there's a new direction to head in, but you don't know which direction to go. And those answers will be revealed to you. But right now you need to focus on being with yourself, self-love, all those things I mentioned before, but also being in your own creative energy so that you're tapping into that frequency of dreaming again. Because you're not going to, as long as you're in the same frequency of driving hard, doing what I've always done, this is what gets me respect, this is what people expect from me, this is what the authorities told me to do when I was younger. As long as you're in that energy, you're not going to be available for these new ways of existing, of being, that are trying to come through to you. And then we also have the Four of Wands. And so in this deck, it is a celebration. And they're talking about these two coming together to celebrate before their next adventure. So they are celebrating everything that they have achieved, everything that they have been able to do before they move on to the next thing. So I do feel like May is a little bit of this pause and wait. Maybe it's not time to jump into whatever you're being guided into just yet. You're still getting the downloads around what that even is. You're still practicing imagining and dreaming again. So it really is just this time of, wow, look at everything that I have been able to do thus far, even though I may not fully be where I want to go yet. And so what you're celebrating is this death of the old self. So we have Capricorn here And then we have the Drowned King. This is a major ego death of that version of you with the authority that we saw before. Maybe you were someone who, I don't know, example that's coming to me, you were in maybe more of a corporate environment. This is like very literal. And now you're becoming more creative. Now you're becoming more of an artist and exploring that side of you. It's the end of who you thought you had to be. And this very goal-oriented kind of achieve, move to the highest heights of society, of what's possible, of achievement, get the awards, get the accolades. It's that kind of energy, climb the mountain. That's the part of you that is dying with the Drowned King. So that this, again, more softer, more sensual, more creative, imaginative, and dreamy side of you can come to the forefront. Because this hard driving success version was a mask anyway. That was not the true you. That was the you that you learned to be safe, to protect the true you. And I do feel like that they're singing the song, Go Tell It on the Mountain. I do feel like whatever you're moving into next, it is going to be some kind of, you're going to tell the journey you just went on. You're going to explain what you went through somehow, whether that's, you're writing a book about your journey literally, or maybe you're a teacher and you're teaching people to walk this same path. There's some kind of expression of, look what I have done. Look where I have been, and look where I am now. Look, and this is what it took to get there. And that's what's going to help people on their journey of making that same trek. It really just feels like you have this new understanding of what achievement even means, what success even means now. And I do feel like you're making more space for connection, whether this is a romantic relationship or friendships, family. You're really redefining what brings you happiness, what brings you peace. And they're just showing me that the peace and harmony that you're now experiencing is coming as a result of you letting go. Seeing a balloon floating up into the air. You letting go of this need to achieve is what is bringing this harmony and the celebration and this connection into your life. Because the people that were always meant to connect with you, they were never going to relate or connect with this hard driving success version of you. So you probably noticed when you were more in that energy, you were attracting people who weren't fully aligned. And you've probably released a lot of those relationships since you've been making this shift. And that's because they weren't in alignment with you. Now you're meeting, probably, I would venture to guess, more creative people, more people who are connected to their emotions, people who are dreamers, people who use their imagination. Looks like all of this is, so we have the Hierophant reversed, which is all about, bucking the trends, going against societal norms. And it also feels like the Ascendant card is here. This is about an entrance. Diana Ross's I'm Coming Out comes to mind. Like, I'm coming out as this new version of myself. And I have given myself this full permission to be everything I want to be, to look like nobody else in this world. And that could be physically, but I mean energetically. I mean the things that you do, the way that you speak, the way that you move, the things that you wear, your interests, your hobbies, everything. It's like you put it all together in a way that nobody else has before. And that is your uniqueness that you're bringing to the world. And this card, the red and white rose, is all about these two colors and how they come together, but they don't blend to make pink. They still keep their vibrant color. And it is about this merging without losing yourself. So interdependence. You're learning to be in the world and to relate to others, but not to lose yourself in what other people think, in what other people expect of you, to still completely be your own person and hold on to your energy and your sovereignty while also being in relation to other people, in relationship to other people. And now you're at the point where it feels like this energy in you has been percolating. You've been working on stripping away the layers and the masks for so long. But now in May, it feels like you're at the entrance point. You're at the point where you're ready to show the world everything that you've revealed and learned about yourself. You're ready to reveal to the world in some way. You're ready to now express this. And this actually relates to a channeled message I just recorded for TikTok, which was about how this collective is exploring and discovering new ways of experiencing pleasure. And these are ways that they had never given themselves permission to experience pleasure before, ways that they never even thought that were available to them, because they always just thought, oh, that's not for me, or I can't do that, or what will they think? And so with this Hierophant reversed card, it really does feel like you are giving yourself that full permission to explore all of these different ways to exist in life, maybe things you want to do with your career. And again, all the examples I listed before of ways of being that are not what you were supposed to be doing at all. They were not what you were supposed to be doing. But you're letting that go, and the part that's significant is the permission, the freedom to do whatever you want to do is part of where the pleasure of doing that thing comes from. So giving yourself the permission to do these things that nobody ever thought you would do, you never thought you would do, but you maybe always wanted to do. It's like those things that you're like, oh, I would love to do that, but I could never. Those are the types of things you're considering now or doing now. And a lot of the pleasure comes from simply the fact that you aren't denying yourself anymore. Biggest challenge for this month with the 6th house is sustainability. And I feel like this is talking about maybe someone who has a lot of ideas, and maybe you're trying to figure out which one to start with, how to make them all come to life. And also, this reading has a heavy work energy to it. So for a lot of you, this is pertaining to your career. And so you're kind of trying to figure out a way to make these passions and this new, outside of the box career path sustainable. How is this actually going to work with you? How is this actually going to provide for you? How are you going to make it work? And then we also have the Page of Wands, which is, in this deck, really speaks to wanting to charge ahead and wanting to take action and not being afraid, and also, just the little lessons that you learn along the way, and not being afraid to make mistakes, and understanding that it's all part of the lesson, all part of learning and growing into where you are going. So it feels like there's a little bit of this push-pull energy with the 6th house and with the Page of Wands. Like the Page of Wands wants to charge ahead and experiment, and the 6th house card is kind of like, okay, but how do we make this a routine? How do we make this into something that's going to sustain us for a longer term? And then another challenge is the Pearl, the new Pearl, which is all about going through the hardship, going through the grit to produce the pearl, just like the lotus goes through the mud to have this beautiful flower bloom. It is, can you sit in the discomfort of this new phase, moving into this new phase, moving into the unknown, maybe even being a beginner at some of these things that you're trying? Can you sit in that discomfort of making mistakes, right? Of not being perfect, of not knowing what you're doing all the time? Can you sit in that discomfort until it becomes routine? The 6th house, you keep doing it, you get better at it, it becomes your craft. The 6th house is also related to Virgo, and that is very Virgoan, to do something over and over again until you perfect it, until you master it. Another challenge for this collective in making this shift is stop thinking of it as hard. They want you to shift your perspective and think of it as play. Really, it would be more of this Page of Wands energy. It's playful, it's experimentation, and make it fun. Whatever it is you're moving into, can you actually take steps to make it fun? Okay, so for example, I've been being encouraged to write, and I have a lot of resistance to it. And I was thinking, okay, what if I go outside, have a glass of wine, sit by the pool, and write? And so it's like bribery almost, where you're making it a no-brainer. You're making it something that's like, okay, yeah, I can absolutely do that. So whatever the next step is in the direction you're moving, how can you make it more fun for you? Gift for the month of May is Scorpio, which is all about exploring your psyche, exploring your shadows, and alchemizing whatever's there. And then we have the 9 of Coins, which is, your self-worth. Your self-worth, your value, creating abundance all around you because you know your worth and you know your value. And then we also have the lead card, which is Saturnian. This is something that is heavy, but it's something that is durable. It is something that stands the test of time. So I really feel like this moment of your identity shift, shifting from the achiever to the dreamer, let's just put it that way, and learning to play and experiment and have more fun as you move in this direction. All of that and everything that you're doing to take these steps is helping you to have a deeper understanding of your sense of self-worth and ultimately helping you to create more abundance in your life, because you're creating from this true place of value where before you were creating as the achiever, you were creating from needing to prove your value, needing to always prove your worth because you were hiding your value because you didn't think it was valuable with the Queen of Cups reversed. You were hiding this soft, sensitive, creative dreamer energy. You didn't think it was valuable. You thought you needed to become the achiever to prove your sense of self-worth. So now that you've unlearned all that, you're learning that the dreamer is worthy. You're learning to feel safe expressing this dreamer version of you in real life. And that journey of now putting that version of you out there is showing you where your worth has been all along. And this is something that, again, will stand the test of time, cannot be taken from you. Once you realize it, it's there to stay. And they're just showing me that the star energy. So you're a star, not the achiever. I mean, sure, the achiever could have been a star on some level, but the true star within you is this creative, intuitive dreamer self. That is the star. And that is the version of you that the world needs to see. And you'll probably blow up on some level when you share this version of you. You're wondering, when's it going to be my time? That's when. That's when. Because this is your gold. This version of you. And I asked for advice, and we have the Great Serpent, which is all about your spiritual evolution, restarting over and over again. It's the spiral, right? The serpent eating its own tail because it's a loop that continues and you go deeper and deeper, but the loop never ends. And that's our spiritual path here on earth. And then the Hermit card is here as well. So it is all about going within yourself to find the answers, and that always being the answer. Not always, but often being the answer. And that all of this journey that you're on is bringing you deeper and deeper inside of yourself, deeper and deeper into knowing of yourself. And then symbiosis is here as well, which is about a relationship between different parts. Here it's talking about trines and sextiles in astrology, but these are parts that work together, that support each other, that help each other, that lift each other up. And so I feel like it's like your spirit team saying, we are always here for you. We are lifting you up. You are going within yourself to connect to us, to connect to the spirit realm, to connect to your inner self. And that is the process that is carrying you through the unknown, carrying you through everything that you're experiencing here. And they also want to share that, some people get frustrated when they hear that more healing is required, or they just want to be done healing. And it's like, you're never done exploring yourself. You're never done with this journey of spirituality, of knowing yourself. Again, you just keep going deeper. And that's why they want you to stop thinking of it as hard, and they want it to stop being hard for you. They want you to stop thinking that you're doing something wrong, and they want you to just surrender to the fact that this is a never-ending journey. You're never going to get there. So it's really just about showing up every day, understanding that you're supported in whatever your endeavors are, but really your primary focus is showing up for this journey every day. And the symbiosis is, I'm getting chills as I say this, the symbiosis is everything working out for you as long as you're showing up for your journey. And so really, this feels like the main message of this entire reading, because the 10th house card and the Capricorn card, this was the old you that thought, I need to achieve something to feel valuable in the outer world. I need to make my life look like this to feel valuable. That was the whole premise. That was what died. That was what died, is this idea that my life needs to look like this, and then I will be valuable. I will have proven that I am worthy. But what you're realizing is there are no rules for what your life needs to look like. You have no idea what your life needs to look like, actually. In fact, just let go of your understanding of what your life needs to look like, because you have no idea what it needs to look like. And instead, show up for the journey. Trust that the journey will lead you step by step. All you have to do is show up and be with yourself. Over and over again. It never stops. But you show up and you be with yourself, and that's where you find the joy. That's where you find the happiness, the pleasure, the fun, the play is in the journey, literally, literally. The suffering comes from this idea that my life should look different than it looks now. I have not achieved, I have not climbed the mountain, therefore I must suffer. But the lesson you're learning in May is where true joy resides. So if you want to explore this energy more, if you need support, guidance, magic, candle magic workings to help you step into this energy, someone to hold you accountable as you step into this energy, I have one spot open for one-on-one mentorship, and I'll put the link down below.